Joining us now with his top picks is Chris Shibutani, Goldman Sachs senior biotech analyst. Chris, welcome. So the IBB hasn't done so well, but anything associated with weight loss drugs, Eli Lilly, Structure today, Novo Nordisk has done well. What does that mean?
Yeah, thank you for having me on, John. Certainly you've touched with your introduction some of the major themes that are really drawing the interest of investors. Obesity is considered what we think of as a once-in-a-generation kind of mega TAM opportunity, TAM meaning total available market. And just thinking about the sheer scale and scope of the opportunity here, we're at a very unique time where I think a lot of things are coming together. Drugs that have unprecedented levels of activity, the right kind of complexion in terms of the side effect profile, and certainly near insatiable demand that you could argue is timeless. For the stocks from the sectors, as you described, yeah, it continues to be challenging, particularly the XBI as an index, which tends to include the full range of market cap companies in the biotech space. At Goldman Sachs, we have a preference in terms of our recommendations around large cap quality names. We've highlighted several, and I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk about some stocks. There's always going to be various degrees of headwinds, but you pointed in your introduction to one of the key tenets of investing in healthcare, and that is when you can have identified the combination of innovation and significant market size and opportunity and growth that will draw broader investor attention beyond just the healthcare specialists, which would then give us continued hope for that opportunity.
Okay, so tell me, in the near term, and maybe even to some extent medium term, is there shutdown risk in this arena because it is regulated? I spoke earlier today with Joe Chiani, the CEO of Masimo. Here's what he had to say.
FDA is tasked to make sure everything that comes out is at least safe, and hopefully some of the things that they look at under approval perspective is safe and effective. And that's really important. But sometimes delays in getting important products out there also impacts safety and the healthcare of people. So I unfortunately see that there will be delays in life-saving products getting into usage in hospitals and doctors' offices because of a government shutdown.
Chris, is that anything investors need to be thinking about?
Yeah, and Joe is looking good there. He was clearly one of the innovators. I was an anesthesiologist in a former life, and his company has really focused on innovation, and they've been very diligent about persisting to bring that innovation to market. But for sure, healthcare is a highly regulated market. We count upon, as we observe the industry, making sure that the permission pass to go to market is clearly the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. We look for decisions upon how many of these drugs require payment systems and recommendations from essentially the Health and Human Services, including in particular the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Very important parts of being able to figure out, again, gating factors for drug approvals, and also important decisions in terms of what will get covered, what will get paid for.
Yeah. Okay, you said you came to Overtime bearing stock picks. What are they?
Yeah, so we have a couple of them here. I'll mention three quickly. I'll start off with one that is perhaps not the most popular in terms of sentiment currently. That would be Pfizer. But remember that if we're looking for the opportunity over a longer term, this is a company that's undergoing considerable transformation. 2021 was a very strong year from them from the standpoint that COVID captured the world, and really they were in the best position there with their vaccine and therapeutic. Now, in a post-COVID era, it's much more difficult to get visibility on what that trajectory could look like. That uncertainty is not the stock's friend, but we would argue at 52-week lows, there's an opportunity here. Couple that with the fact that COVID provided the company with the opportunity to essentially rebuild. Tremendous amounts of M&A activity and business development is going to shape the direction of the company in the future. Watch for the Seattle Genetics acquisition to possibly close towards year end, which could guide the company towards a stronger trajectory.
Yeah. You have a neutral rating on Lilly. I mean, we just started this conversation talking about obesity and weight loss drugs. Why are you neutral?
Yeah, you know, I think there's no question that the significance of the opportunity here and their positioning as a leader is very meaningful. At current levels, in our view, that the stock really captures a lot of positives here. It's been a tremendous year. Alzheimer's disease, as well as Lilly from the obesity standpoint, as well as benefiting from the positive results that came from data that was presented by one of their competitors and co-leaders in the obesity space, Novo Nordisk. At current levels, in our opinion, and as we look forward, we believe that there's additional issues that will be faced. There's no questioning the demand, but supply and manufacture of the drug is a question. Earlier this week, we published a report looking at the tremendous number of additional companies and drugs that are in the pipeline, over 50. And as John started the segment, the company there includes themselves amongst those who are in the clinic and could become contenders for segments of the market. I think Lilly's leadership is unquestioned.
Okay.
We're neutral at this level for the stock.